Well, when I was a kid, I went to a really small school, so all of us pretty much played every sport. We really had to have a big enough team, so I played soccer, softball, basketball, and volleyball as a kid. And then when I went to high school, I started running cross country. I actually started in 8th grade. I ran cross country. I didn't do too good then, but I decided to stick with it. Some of my cousins had ran who were a few years older than me, so they inspired me to run cross country. I'd never really heard of it before that. So I started to run in high school and I really loved it, but it was kind of a hard time for me. A lot of obstacles when I ran cross country in high school. I started out running a little in 8th grade, just a little bit, but when I got to high school, I had really high expectations of myself when I started, because I just had high expectations for everything, really. I also had some cousins who ran a few years before me, and they were really good runners, so I kind of came in, thinking that I would be really good. And my father was a really good athlete in general. So when I started running, I found out that I was pretty average. I had to work really hard. And I was really very stressed out, nervous, anxious about it, as well as just everything, a lot of anxiety. So along with that and my incredibly awful running form, which was just atrocious. No one had taught me how to run, or even that the way I was running could be doing a lot of damage to my body. So I developed a lot of injuries due to all those factors. I had my freshman year, I stress fractured my hip, and I developed plantar fasciitis, which I didn't get a diagnosis on that right away, but I took some time off, did heal my hip, but then continued the plantar fasciitis. I developed Achilles tendonitis, stress fractures in both of my heels, I had lower back pain, I had a lot of shin pain, just all kinds of stuff. And I kept running through it until I finished the cross country season my senior year, but I was just doing awful by the end of the year. I developed a breathing problem. They thought it was asthma. I had all types of testing, inhalers. Turned out that it was an anxiety issue where when I got really stressed, the back of my throat would close off. So of course that happened in the races, and it was just a mess. So I went to some doctors, mostly for the heel pain, because that was causing me pain every day in my life. Every time I stood, it was constant. So I had physical therapy, I had inserts, I had cortisone shots, I took anti-inflammatory medicines, all kinds of stuff. None of it worked at all. I went to various different doctors, and finally on the last one, actually a running specialist, after trying a lot of different things, he just said, "I'm sorry, I don't know what else to do." Gave me just a flat, cushy insert that helped a little bit. And he was like, "You really just need to stop running." And that was kind of hard for me to hear, because even though I was in so much pain, I, for some reason, still really loved running. I met the CSU Project, some of the members, about 4 or 5 years ago, when I was 21, I think. I was doing an internship at New Balance. I was in school in Cincinnati, but my program did a bunch of internships, so I came here, and Ryan and Matt both worked at New Balance. So I ended up doing a project on chi running, a group intern project. And Ryan ended up kind of being the head of our intern group, or the head person kind of helping us out, because the project was on chi running. So otherwise, I might not have even really ended up talking too much to them, because they were in a different department than me. So at that point, I learned all about what chi running was, because Ryan had been, I think at that point he was in the process of getting certified for chi running. So that was just a big shock to me, learning about that. I had never heard of chi running or anything about running form before. So I met them and learned just a lot about running at that time. Joining CSU has tremendously helped my running. When I first met two members of the CSU Project, Ryan Miller and Matt Germain, I was at a point where I could not run at all. I hadn't run in a few years. I had been trying to stay in shape through swimming and doing some Pilates and just beginning to get into yoga a little bit. But I'd always been hoping I'd be able to run again, but didn't know how I would ever be able to. And I was still at a point where I was constantly in pain. Everything really hurt. And I met Ryan and Matt both at New Balance, but Ryan worked on a project with me on chi running, which he was in the process of becoming a certified instructor for chi running at the time. And he taught me about proper running form, about being relaxed. And I also learned a little bit through, a lot through Ryan and through other members of the CSU Project about yoga, about meditation, and learning about just being relaxed and having fun when I was running. It was really a whole new concept for me. For me, before, running was about running as fast as I could. I was always tired, out of breath, stressed out. And now I learned that you could actually have fun when you run. I was really shocked when I saw members of the CSU Project running. It didn't seem hard for them, it seemed easy, they were having fun. So I realized, I want to be able to do that. And it took me probably 2 years after meeting the CSU Project till I could actually start running consistently, take it very slow. And even now I'm still dealing with injuries, but it's just, I couldn't even, if I never met the CSU Project, I probably wouldn't be running now. I had a lot of lifestyle changes once I met the CSU Project members. I had just been starting to get into eating a little bit healthy. I'd always been concerned with being in shape and being thin my whole life, but I really didn't know what it meant to be healthy. I was actually very unhealthy. So I learned about healthy eating. I learned about healthy attitude. I learned how dangerous stress can be to you. So really now I view life a little bit differently. I try to be a lot more relaxed about situations. I try to spend a lot of time learning about health and trying to be the healthiest I can be. And I've also learned about relaxation and how important that is after a run or any type of working out, and learn about meditation, which has helped me a lot, and yoga, and that you can't go hard all the time, especially with all the injuries that I've dealt with. My body is still a little bit fragile, so I need to spend more time doing some of the relaxation techniques, which I didn't know anything about before the CSU Project. I thought it was go hard all the time. And I'm also very concerned with bringing that to children. I just see a lot of children lately working in the schools who are just don't seem to know very much about being healthy, being active, being fit, and eating well as relaxation techniques. There's so much anxiety in the children that I see, especially with the special needs population. I've spent a lot of time in grad school focusing my papers and my research on meditation and yoga and calming techniques for children, and there's a lot of good research out there. It's really helpful for them, so I'd love to bring that into my classroom someday and work more with helping the children in that way, along with obviously the academics, but just giving information, giving resources to the parents who may be looking for other ways to help their children but aren't really sure where to look. Right now in grad school, I've focused a lot of my research papers on yoga and meditation and stuff along those lines for kids, because there is some work, there's some research being done on that, as well as anyone who does that can really feel the effects that it has. But there's been some really great benefits for kids from doing the meditation in school, and I would love to be able to bring that more to the kids that I will eventually be teaching, as well as teaching or just giving resources to their parents, that there's more out there than everything you hear, and there's more out there than just the academics for really helping these kids to succeed.